The Strange Mr. Snow. Asia Snow was an eccentric man. In 1840, he moved into a farmhouse at the crossroads between Dana and Petersham, where he remained until his death 32 years later.
Snow's nickname was Popcorn because he subsisted primarily on popcorn and milk. Pretty humble provisions for a man who presumably made a small fortune loan sharking.
In August 1844, Snow's first wife committed suicide by hanging herself with a strip of cloth from the dress she was wearing, and many locals blamed Snow for making the poor woman insane by his eccentric behavior.
Snow buried her lovingly in an old cemetery across the brook from his house, and the following year he had the sad task of burying his young daughter next to her. But the remains were disinterred in 1868 when Snow had them moved to an elaborate family tomb he'd built in the same graveyard.
Besides constructing a large tomb, Snow became obsessed with every last detail of his own eventual burial. He had a coffin maker build a strong metal casket from him with a 10-inch glass window at the head end.
This was not so his spirit could look out. It was so a hired undertaker could look in on him for 7 days after his death, just to make sure he was truly dead.
When death finally came, it did so with an ironic twist. Snow was a vegetarian, but he died of a heart failure while lugging a heavy pig carcass for others to enjoy up from the front steps of his house on Thanksgiving Day, 1872.
Snow's second wife, perhaps wanting to be certain her impossible to live with husband wasn't coming back, told the undertaker Snow had hired that 3 days was quite long enough to check on her husband's casket, shortchanging Snow of 4 of the 4 days he had been promised by the undertaker.
It didn't take long for the curiosity seekers to break into the tomb to see if the rumors about the man with his window and his casket and popcorn in his cushion were true.
40 years, Snow's remains had stayed intact. In fact, the condition of his body was remarkably unchanged, no doubt thrilling the many brave onlookers who ventured into the tomb, but also creating even more rumors regarding the man named Popcorn.
This time the rumors were not about his strange life, but about his strange spirit. One tale was that Snow's ghost left the tomb every November 15th. There's no explanation for that date, to visit his wife's grave nearby.
Another was about a man from Boston who was dared to visit the tomb on that night and leave a jug of whiskey on top of Snow's casket as proof that he had been there. The man accepted the challenge for $10, tied his horse outside the tomb, and went in. Shortly after entering, he heard the horse go berserk. He hustled outside, but the horse was already a mile down the road. Obviously traumatized, the next day when the shaken man brought his challenger to the tomb to prove he had been there, the bottle of whiskey he had left was smashed into pieces. This left no doubt in either man's mind that Snow had indeed haunted the area the previous night, just as the legend says.